First, across the country, there's a shortage of paramedics. Demand for the service has risen by a third over the last 5 years, and the pressure is on to hit target times. Well, we hitched a ride with the South East Coast Ambulance Service to see what's going on.
Tend to try and get in early so you can check the car over, make sure you've got all the equipment, that sort of thing, so you're ready to go at the start of your shift. My shifts are all 12 hours, so I work 12 hours with a half an hour break in the middle. And then the end of the shift, I go home. I don't think there is such a thing as a normal day in the ambulance service. On one day you'll see one patient, on another day you'll see 10 patients. My mum was a nurse, so we've always had healthcare sort of in the family, and seeing how she was always calm when we hurt ourselves or stuff like that, I think I always looked up to her in that sense, the fact that she had that calm.
Coming up as a 56-year-old female, vomiting and weak. No other information to give you and no previous history. Over.
Just over an hour into her shift, Liz gets her first call out.
I haven't got anything through down the computer, but obviously Control have told me that it's a 50-something-year-old female who's vomiting and weak. But the call is, when she told me that, the call was still in progress, so we still don't know entirely what's going on there.
3 miles away in Ash, Liz arrives on scene. Deborah has collapsed on the floor in her home. Her friend called 999.
I woke up this morning.
Okay.
And the room was spinning.
Okay. Have you ever had anything like this before? And if you're lying still with your eyes closed, does the dizziness pass? The most important thing in that instance was to try and calm her down and try and explain that you know, I was there and I was going to look after her and make sure she was all right. Try and take some nice, slow, deep breaths. Okay? I know you feel really ill.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared, okay? You're right. It's okay, Debbie. It's okay.
Liz manages to calm Deborah down and quickly ascertains her condition has been brought on by a viral illness.
That's much better breathing. That's much, much better, okay? Everything's looking nice and normal at the moment. So I think it's, from what you've said, going on the history, I think it's most likely to be an ear problem. Okay.
With Deborah reassured, Liz decides there's no need for her to go to hospital.
Hiya, it's Liz here. I'm with Deborah.
She calls Deborah's GP and arranges for her to get the medication she needs. Within an hour of the 999 call being made, Liz is back on the road.
Sort of go to someone that's scared and frightened and realising that they're not going to be dragged off to hospital, and that we're going to fix them and leave them at home. That's what I find most rewarding. We do have days where we're rushed off our feet, we're really busy, and you are literally going from job to job to job. I would say call demand is going up, so we are getting increasingly busier.
And that's the story across the country as paramedics feel the strain of an increasing workload.
The number of calls being received by the ambulance service has gone up by at least a third over the last 5 years, and that's why we're seeing such pressure being put on paramedics to try and manage this number of calls with the same level of staff.
At the South East Coast Control Room in Banstead, they're taking 3,000 calls a day. That's about 2 every minute.
There have been notable problems with the liver because of the ambulance.
So this is the ambulance service.
24/7, yeah. Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, we're here every single day. They can be ringing from anything from having a life-threatening emergency right through to not really knowing who they should contact in the health service.
And on top of the increase in call-outs, paramedics are leaving the ambulance service, poached to do other, often better-paid jobs elsewhere.
The modern-day paramedic is an incredibly competent, incredibly well-trained healthcare professional. It takes between 3 and 4 years to train a paramedic, so they are incredibly attractive as employees in healthcare systems.
And what time was it that you took this off?
The rate of opportunities that have become available for paramedics in recent years is so great that we've seen larger numbers of our experienced paramedics move into primary care to work alongside general practitioners and nursing colleagues. Frankly, that wasn't anticipated to happen at that rate, so there is a question of planning.
Liz is getting all the training going. She'll soon be a practitioner paramedic, meaning she can do more treatments at the scene and send fewer patients to hospital. It also makes her qualified to do other frontline healthcare jobs in and out of the NHS.
I came to CCAM, South East Coast, to do the practitioner route. So they're paying for me to go to university and do extra training and get extra skills. It does open a lot more doors by doing that training. And it gives you more skills and more experience and more advanced assessment techniques to be helping people at home as well.
And that training's about to be put to good use.
It's a 67-year-old male with chest pain, difficulty of breathing.
Perfect, thank you very much.
John Batty, who has cancer of the esophagus, has called 999 complaining of chest pains.
I suddenly got this severe pain here. I've been taking Gaviscon and paracetamol, which had no effect. I've been up all night with it.
Okay, have you ever had this pain before?
No.
Okay.
An ambulance crew joins Liz at the scene in case John needs to go to hospital. His pains could be related to the cancer, but Liz wants to rule out heart problems.
You can do an ECG, see if we can see anything that's going on with your heart. Normally with classic cardiac pain you'd expect it to be central crushing chest pain. Normally patients are pale and sweaty and just look really unwell. He obviously didn't. He looked very well, he was a good colour, he wasn't sweaty, he was chatting away.
But the ECG delivers bad news. John is having a heart attack.
Essentially, it can mean that there's a clot in your heart blocking some or one of the arteries. So what we're going to do is we'll send this over to Frimley Park so the cardiologist can have a look at it now.
Time is now crucial. John's taken straight to Frimley Park Hospital.
This is to help stop the clot in your heart getting in the big one.
Don't worry, we can talk about that later. He got about as good a response as you could get. He's having an acute MI, lateral MI. We were there pretty quick, and then the crew were there within a couple of minutes later. So he got about the best response he could have got from the ambulance service, to be fair. That's the thing with working on an ambulance or working in the car. You know, 1 minute you're dealing with someone that's not life-threatening at all, and then the next minute it is potentially life-threatening.
The good news is John Batty is now recovering at home. His doctor told us John had had a massive heart attack and probably owes his life to a quick response. He's lucky because South East Coast Ambulance Service is one of only 3 in the country hitting government set targets for an 8-minute response to a 999 call.
You're called to an 86-year-old male who's been complaining of central chest pain. He has collapsed.
South East Coast is the only ambulance service whose trainee paramedics have their university fees paid for. It currently has 48 vacancies for paramedics. Compare that with South West's 53 vacant posts and South Central's 275.
We're really lucky in this area. So Health Education, Kent, Surrey and Sussex fund all of our students, and that is unusual. The rest of the country, the students are having to fund themselves through university programmes. It would be great if that funding spread, because it shows investment in the profession and students and the NHS, and I hope that would happen. There isn't an indication of that at the moment.
Anything pinching anywhere?
This year, Surrey University had over 400 applicants for its 50 funded places. But why be a paramedic when frontline care itself is in a critical condition?
I love the job because it's a variety of different things each day. You're not stuck in an office 9 till 5. You're going to come across new cases every day, and that just excites me.
Reassess response.
It's making that difference, being able to go out there and knowing that what you can do can actually help that person.
I think an awful lot of student paramedics have a good idea of the stresses and strains that they'll face with the long working hours and how busy they are anyway. It's certainly been the case since I've been a first year anyway, so I'm going into the job, I feel, with my eyes wide open.
Looking forward to
These students are the lucky ones. No course fees to pay off, and they'll soon be joining Britain's 20,000 paramedics. But filling the long list of more than 1,400 vacancies across England is going to take time.
Immediately we're going to see this pressure build up, and unfortunately it's going to become more and more difficult to try and manage that demand. Long term, if we start getting the government to invest now, to start investing in more and more paramedics going through education, we can start to try and manage this demand. But this is a long-term problem, and we need to start acting now to start training paramedics.
Liz is coming to the end of her 12-hour shift.
So we get called to I think it's a 56-year-old female who's got a headache and it's going into her neck, and she's got a history of migraines. Have you had any visual disturbances at all? So your vision's absolutely fine. Have you got any pain at the moment in your chest? Good. That's the right answer. Basically, she had a tension headache brought on by quite a traumatic episode that she's had today. And so once she was relaxed, gave her some paracetamol, gave some painkillers, and she calmed down, and then the headache started to ease, and she, went back to normal. I guess the main frustration I would say as a paramedic is people calling for what we deem as inappropriate reasons. But obviously that's quite difficult because that we think they're inappropriate because we've got medical training. Whereas when you don't have medical training, then what you class as appropriate might be slightly different. I think the one that really sticks in my mind is someone that called because their gums were bleeding. And I'm just not sure how anyone could class that as a life-threatening emergency, which is technically what we should be used for.
"13 hours after she arrived for work, Liz makes her way home.
It's been a long day and some pretty genuine jobs as well. Had 2 high Hets blue light into hospital, and so yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted now. Absolutely exhausted. It's almost indescribable. It is exhausting. I was driving back here just now, and all I could think was, I've got to eat dinner, but I just can't be bothered to cook. And I was trying to debate whether I should pop into Tesco's and buy a ready meal because I'm so tired, I just can't even face cooking a meal. And so that's what it comes down to, is that you're just so exhausted when you get home, you can't even function. All you want to do is, all you can think about when you get home is going to bed and getting some sleep.